What's up, everybody? How you doing? Welcome back to Horror Hangout. Welcome back to Shop 31. This is broadcasting across Facebook and Twitch right now. I will be editing this and putting it on my YouTube channel for Horror Hangout as well. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining me today. I've got an interesting, and I would call it a necessary video. We're going to talk about Netflix because everybody stays home and streams movies these days, and a lot of times we don't know what to watch. We need ideas what to watch, and sifting through this stuff for hours on end is a monumental waste of time. So as I go through the movies and watch things on my platforms, I jot notes down, and then every couple of months I make new lists for the platforms. And so today we're talking about the top 10 horror movies that are on Netflix. All right, so a disclaimer: one, this is just a subjective list. This is my favorite movies on Netflix. You don't have to agree. We can all watch what we want. I'm just trying to give you ideas on what to go check out. Maybe these are some movies that you haven't seen before. That's also what I'm going to be talking about. Maybe lesser known movies. And two, I want to go ahead and give the massive disclaimer that I am not going to list the following movies on this list, but they are on Netflix. I'm trying to bring movies to you that maybe you haven't seen before. So the following movies are currently, as of the end of March of 2022, on Netflix. We have The Exorcist, Hostel, Conjuring, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Beginning, and the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre that was done by Netflix. Those are all on the platform currently. You can go watch them, and I encourage you to do so. Those are not on my top 10 because I brought in movies that maybe you haven't heard of quite as frequently. So let's begin with number 10. If you see me looking off or clicking on stuff, I have it set up to where I can view a Google tab on here and read you a synopsis and tell you a little bit more about the movie so that I don't have to write down tons and tons of notes and read off my paper. I thought it'd be easier this way, maybe a little more enjoyable. So if you don't like it, my apologies. I'll get feedback and we'll know in the future if this is a bad way of going about it. But I thought it would be kind of cool. So number 10 is a movie called We Summon the Darkness. The movie it's got a bunch of people in it, but what caught my attention was that it had Johnny Knoxville in it. But it's a look. The synopsis goes as this: three best friends cross paths with sadistic killers after traveling to a secluded country home for a party after a heavy metal concert. That's accurate. This is like it's got a good soundtrack to it. It's a youthful movie. It's a slasher type flick. It's home invasion meets meets slasher, I guess, kind of. It's got a young cast. It's got in the movie. It's for fans of the Babysitter. Better Watch Out, more of the modern stuff. But Johnny Knoxville's in it. Alexandra Daddario is in it. Maddie Hayson and Amy Forsyth. Those are the three main characters in the film. I thought it was a pretty good movie. I've seen it a couple times. As a matter of fact, I own it. It's one of those neon horror movies. It's a modern horror flick. I wouldn't call it a 10 out of 10 or anything, but it's definitely enjoyable. If you like heavy metal, if you like horror comedies, if you like Your Next, Babysitter, that kind of stuff, check this movie out. It's pretty good. Just a heads up, Johnny Knoxville only has a cameo appearance in the movie. It's not a very big part in the film. Number 9 is a movie that I would personally consider a classic horror movie. It stars Kevin Bacon. It came out in the year 2000. It is Hollow Man. Hollow Man is on Netflix right now. It's got Kevin Bacon, Elizabeth Shue, Josh Brolin, and then a bunch of other character actors that you'll know and recognize. It's on Netflix currently. The movie is basically The Invisible Man. After years of experimentation, brilliant but arrogant scientist Sebastian Kane has discovered a way to make matter invisible. Determined to achieve the ultimate breakthrough, Kane pushes his team to move to the next phase, using himself as the subject. The test is a success, but when the process can't be reversed, Kane seems doomed to a future without flesh. Some dated CG, but overall, really great storytelling, awesome acting, great action flicks, scenes, a couple of good jump scares in this movie. I think this one is a modern day classic. It's at this point it's 22 years old, but I love this movie. I'm positive I have Hollow Man in here, but Hollow Man is amazing. The next movie we're going to talk about, number 8. Check this out, though. This is one of the ones that when I watched it, I didn't know what I was getting into. And it came out in 2018. It's called The Perfection. I think it's a Netflix original. I might be wrong about that, but I know when I saw it, it was only on Netflix, and I was extremely surprised by the quality of movie. Troubled musician prodigy Charlotte returns to a prestigious music school to find star pupil Lizzie has taken her place, and the pair embark down a sinister path. It's very vague. It was directed by Richard Shepard and music by Paul Hassingler. Well, it was done by Miramax. So basically, it's about these two young ladies. One's Allison Williams plays Charlotte, and Logan Browning plays Lizzie. They are friends, like they become lovers, and then jealousy starts to mess things up. It gets very violent. It's got a lot of sexual tension. I'm trying to be vague as I can because I don't want to ruin it. I think this is one that you have to go watch because it gets up real quick, man. This is a really, really good horror movie. I thoroughly enjoyed this one. I've seen it more than once. I don't own it. I don't know that it's available on hard copy. It might be, but yeah, dude, The Perfection was a solid flick. Yeah, man, I'm trying to think of how else to describe this without ruining the movie. I don't think that I can. It's got some good twists. It's got a lot of very graphic violence in it, and some good sex scenes if that's something you're into. I know a lot of people like that kind of stuff. Number 7 is a movie that came out in 2016. It is the first film by the person that did Titane. It's called Raw. Raw is not going to be everybody's cup of tea. I really enjoyed it, but it's definitely a little weird. Stringent vegetarian Justine encounters a decadent, merciless, and dangerously seductive world during her first week at veterinary school. Desperate to fit in, she strays from her principles and eats raw meat for the first time. The young woman soon experiences terrible and unexpected consequences as her true self begins to emerge. Yeah, dude, this movie is gory, violent. Somebody put on a review. They put one of the most horrific films to come out of the Cannes Film Festival. It's a bloody horror that puts a shocking twist on the coming-of-age genre. The graphic imagery even led to some viewers requiring medical services after allegedly fainting during the festival screening. Yeah, I don't want to read much else because they're gonna. Yeah, they go through the whole. Yeah, it's gonna mess up the movie for you if I read it all. It's nuts, man. When you have a movie about a vegetarian that suddenly decides to eat meat, and then it goes into like one of them spiraling out of control, losing your mind types of stories, it's well worth the watch on Netflix, man. Netflix has got some good stuff right now. I'll be honest, man. It's this next one's even more up. Oh my goodness. So number 6, The Killing of a Sacred Deer. This movie took me a while to realize it was a horror movie. It's a horror movie. This one was brought to my attention by Josh and Chris of Shopcast fame. So if you know, those guys are my buddies. This one is who's the director of this? Hold on, let's see here. My memory does not serve me very well when trying to remember stuff like this. Yorgos Lanthimos. What else has he done? He's done a couple. Oh, The Lobster. That's what it was. The Lobster, and there was one more that he did that was really that I've seen. But yeah, The Lobster and The Killing of a Sacred Deer. Whew, my goodness, dude. This movie is nuts. So basically, Colin Farrell is in it. Nicole Kidman, and then Barry Keoghan is the antagonist of this movie, and you don't really know what's going on for a little while. So here's what the movie's about. Dr. Stephen Murphy is a renowned cardiovascular surgeon who presides over a spotless household with his wife and 2 children. Lurking at the margins of his idyllic suburban existence is Martin, a fatherless teen who insinuates himself into the doctor's life in gradually unsettling ways. Wow, yeah, that's a pretty good description. Soon the full scope of Martin's intent becomes menacingly clear when he confronts Stephen with a long-forgotten transgression that will shatter his domestic bliss forever. This movie is It's got some graphic moments. It's not a graphic movie though, but it is a shocking film. It is extremely well acted. The directing is awesome. The cinematography is great. I can't remember the music, but I imagine it's as good as anything else is in the movie. Top tier movie, one that a lot of people haven't heard of. If you liked Lobster, or if you're a fan of stuff like ooh, that's a bad comparison. Just go give this trailer a watch. If the trailer intrigues you, watch the movie. I'm telling you, you're going to be in for a ride you weren't expecting. This is a very, very good movie. Oh man, number 5 already, huh? Okay. In 2014, Mark Duplass gave us a rather short horror film called Creep, and it is currently on Netflix. I suggest you go watch this movie. Aaron answers an online ad and drives to a stranger's house to film him for the day. The man wants to make a movie for his unborn child, but his requests become more bizarre as the day goes along. Yeah, that's pretty much it without spoiling anything. It's got a really, really awesome ending. Mark Duplass, who is he was in that movie, the show The League. Mark Duplass is cool, man, and he does a fantastic job. I find it funny that a lot of times you'll get a comedic actor that does something serious and they excel in it. I wonder why that is, man. Because Adam Sandler did it. Steve Carell does it. Mark Duplass. I mean, I can go on for days, mentioning actors that were in funny stuff for most of their career that go on to do something extremely memorable. That's serious, It's wild, man. But Creep. There's also Creep 2 on here. You can go watch both of them. They're both good. So basically, Mark Duplass is like, he's got a terminal illness and he wants to film himself for his kid, so he's somebody to remember him by. He hires a videographer to go out and do that. The guy shows up and just weird stuff starts happening. Mark Duplass is a weird guy. He's got him doing very odd requests. But keep in mind, it is a horror movie. The ending of this movie is shocking. Go check it out, man. It's really, really good. Excuse me. So number 4 is a movie that is a book as well. I've read the book. The book is actually better than the movie, but the movie is fantastic. I don't even know, man. They're different, but they're the same. The story's the same, but they're different renditions of the same story. I like them both equally, I guess, at this point. It's a movie that came out in 2017 called The Ritual. Reuniting after the tragic death of their friend, 4 college pals set out to hike through the Scandinavian wilderness. A wrong turn leads them into the mysterious forests of Norse legend, where an ancient evil exists and stalks them at every turn. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. It's a wilderness horror movie. These guys go out there to celebrate the life of their buddy. They make one mistake while they're traveling, and then you can use your imagination to find out like what's going on in the wilderness. What would happen if you're out in a place that you're not familiar with? You've got the dangers of rock climbing and hiking. You've got the dangers of big ass animals everywhere. Then if you want to throw some supernatural shit in the mix, you got all kinds of stuff happening in this movie. And it is fantastic. If you've got the time to read the book, even listen to it on Audible, I highly suggest it. The book is terrifying and unnerving, and the movie does a really great job of recreating that. So go check it out on Netflix right now. I don't know how long these movies will last. So number 3 already, man. Let's go. Oh man. Here's one that I wasn't sure I was going to really like. And when I watched, I could not believe how good it was. This is probably the newest movie on the list. This one came out in 2020. It's a zombie film. It is, let's see. It's called #Alive. While a grisly virus ravages a Korean city, John Woo tries to stay safe by locking himself inside his apartment. Just as he loses hope, he discovers another survivor. So basically, yes, it's this one dude. A zombie outbreak starts off, and it's all in one room initially, right? And he's in there, and he's trying to figure out how he's going to eat. He's looking out the window, trying to figure out how he's going to get out of there. He's got some stuff to protect himself, but not much. Door's locked. It looks as though he's hopeless, and you're not sure really what's going to happen. And then early on in the movie, he meets another survivor, and it's all contained in this one apartment building, and they're trying to figure out how they're going to escape. Zombie movies are not often fresh and new. They're usually regurgitated stuff we've already seen. That doesn't mean they're not good, This one's not like that. This one had me feeling along the lines of how I felt with Train to Busan. It was a really, really well done zombie movie. I think that the Koreans are doing some amazing things with horror right now. And if you have the chance to go watch Hashtag Alive, I would highly suggest it. I think I gave that like a 9 out of 10. The movie's amazing. I really, really enjoyed that flick quite a bit. Number 2. Oh, man, this one might be a little controversial. In 2017, I was introduced to Samara Weaving with The Babysitter. All right. It's a Netflix original. Spawned a sequel. Sequel's okay. The original's far better, though. I don't even know what to say about this movie. I love this movie. It's got this kid that plays Cole in the movie. He's been in a bunch of other stuff, too. His name is Judah Lewis. He's cool, man. I liked him a lot. But this movie goes like this. A 12-year-old Cole finds out his beloved babysitter belongs to a murderous satanic cult of teenagers. Cole must put his crush for his babysitter aside and escape their grasp before they sacrifice him for personal gain. Yep, that's pretty much what it is. Imagine if you had a babysitter with a bunch of friends. It's like Home Alone meets, like, I don't know. It's very much like Home Alone. Home Alone meets You're Next or Better Watch Out or any of these, hunting down a kid type movies. It's schlocky fun. I absolutely love this movie. Not a lot of Netflix originals on my, bookshelf, but this one is one of my favorites, man. I love this movie. I bought it. It's probably a bootleg. I don't really care because it's not for sale. I just have it so I can watch it whenever I want, whenever they inevitably take it off the platform. But there's 2 movies in the series. Both of them are on Netflix. I suggest you go give them a watch. And number 1, the number 1 horror movie on Netflix currently, in my personal opinion, is a movie from 2016 called Hush. It's amazing. A deaf writer who retreated into the woods to live a solitary life must fight for her life in silence when a masked killer appears in her window. Dude, I avoided this movie. So Kate Siegel is the main character. John Gallagher Jr., you'll recognize him. He plays the antagonist in the film. The cover to this movie, so the reason that I didn't, so the cover to this had me ignoring it for a long time. Look at how basic that looks. And I didn't really realize what it was about. And so I ignored this movie for a long period of time. And one day I was just bored and I was like, all right, I need to watch something that I've never seen. And so I checked out Hush. I had no idea that this was going to be so good. I love home invasion movies. They're like some of my favorites because they get under your skin, man. This stuff generally can usually happen. You know what I'm saying? This movie could happen. So basically, there's this woman who's, I think it said she was deaf and she doesn't talk. She's completely silent. She's out in the woods, and in a like a cabin, but it's a nice property. It's not like in the woods. It's like in a wilderness area on like a lake or something. And she's out there working. She's an author. She's trying to write a book. And she's got neighbors down the way a little ways, probably like quarter mile away. They're out celebrating something. This dude breaks into their house. Shenanigans happen. He's running away and he's trying to hide from the authorities. And that's how he comes across this girl's house. She wasn't the initial target. This all happens in the first couple of minutes of the movie. And you find out he figures out that she can't hear anything and he thinks he's going to get her. Dude, this is a great cat and mouse movie, man. Hush is probably like a 9 out of 10 for me, man. I really, really enjoy it. It's one of my favorite home invasion movies. I need to make a list of home invasion flicks. That'd be a good list. So real quick, we'll run down the list one more time. So if you don't want to watch this, maybe we'll timestamp it where the list is at. Number 10, We Summon the Darkness. Number 9 is Hollow Man. Number 8 is The Perfection. Number 7 is Raw. Number 6 is The Killing of a Sacred Deer. I don't know if there's D in there. It's Killing of a Sacred Deer. Number 5 is Creep. Number 4 is The Ritual. Number 3 is Hashtag Alive. Number 2 is The Babysitter. And number 1 is Hush. Those are the top 10 horror movies currently on Netflix as of late March 2022. Thanks for hanging out, man. I appreciate everybody's time. If you like the content, subscribe and hit the bell, become part of the fam. We would appreciate it. We're growing over here at Horror Hangout. And as you are well familiar by now, I imagine, Shop 31 is about to hit 20,000. We're doing some big things over here. So thank you for your time, everybody. I do appreciate it. Have a great day. We'll see you real soon. Peace.